Wait. Does my hair look okay? Is it fine?
It's fine.
Okay. I still want it sticking all over the place. Or have that hump. Okay. What? My hair is so bushy that there's like a hump will be here every now and then. I don't want that. Is it that funny that I'm worried about my hair?
Yes.
Why? I mean, look at it. Like, it's gotten so long that I have to worry about it.
Just the...
What's up, everyone? It's Kanan,
It's Jessie.
and we are the Geeky Saying Couple, and welcome to yet another episode of RWBY Fairytale Theories. So today's episode is comparing Team RWBY to the characters of The Wizard of Oz, because there is a parallel there. So in this one, we're not really going to be looking up the actual story of The Wizard of Oz, because Wizard of Oz is kind of self-explanatory. Like, we've seen it 10,000 times. We know the story. But this is mostly talking about the individual members of Team RWBY and who they can relate to within the story of The Wizard of Oz. Because, as we've said before, just because characters are based off a certain character in folklore doesn't mean that that is the only character they fulfill the role of. You know, it's kind of like with, Ruby is based off Little Red Riding Hood, but she could be so many other characters in course of a plot. So that's what we're pretty much getting to. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because it won the poll that I did on Twitter. I do them every single week, asking which topic you guys want to see for this show. So that's what won. So as always, shout outs to our Patreon supporters. Shout out to all of our subscribers. We've gotten some new ones. We're getting very, very close to 350 subscribers. Hopefully we hit 500 by the end of 2021. And
Our videos are actually getting out there and recommending.
they're actually
others,
they're actually getting recommended to non-subscribers, so that's great. Channel views are actually going up, so yeah, great stuff. If you guys do want to support us on Patreon, link is in the description. It's just $1. I know at least one person has asked us about taking PayPal donations. We are looking into that. So yeah, you got anything? Any shout outs or anything? All right, so I think we all know right off the bat that Ozpin's group is, of course, the Wizard of Oz. Ozpin being the wizard, Glinda being Glinda. Salem being the Wicked Witch of the West, which is kind of funny because Salem is named after a name that is synonymous with witchcraft, and that being you're knocking stuff all over the place. That would be, the Salem witch trials from Salem, Massachusetts. And then when it comes for his group, Crow is always referred to as the Scarecrow. Ironwood is the Tin Man, and Lionheart was the Cowardly Lion. And they do fit. Lionheart was
A coward.
Yeah, and he never gained his courage. Ironwood, as the series has went on, has lost his heart more and more. Crow seems like the only one who may be still following the path because he is getting, not exactly IQ smarter, but smarter in his decisions. Like, he's no longer drinking to handle his problems and all that.
I mean, the story of Wizard of Oz has been twisted in every direction, where there's versions that people have come up with that only some of the characters don't get what they were going for in the end, and one or two does.
Yeah.
So it's kind of leaning towards one of those versions where Crow is, he was going the opposite direction and the others were succeeding. Well, they kind of switched.
No.
Like, it just kind of fits that way. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that say, well, Crow's gonna die. I really don't think so anymore. Now that things have changed. I mean,
it's hard to say.
It is hard to say.
You can't kill everybody.
No.
So,
but I'm just saying that it kind of makes sense now. Like, it's changing.
Yeah. So, where does that leave Team RWBY? Well, a lot of people have picked up on this, but for the ones who haven't, RWBY is Dorothy. Zwei is Toto.
Because why wouldn't he be?
Weiss is the Tin Man. Blake is the Cowardly Lion, and Yang is the Scarecrow. So how do they all fit into that? Well, RWBY is Dorothy just because she's the main protagonist. It's pretty much her tale. Well, as the show has went on, that's kind of yes and no, because at the end of the day, the four of them are the main protagonists. It is their story.
If you go from the beginning in this line, like, of this piece of the storyline,
yeah,
she would be that girl.
Yeah,
so,
like really, if there was
this string of the story.
Yeah, I mean, if there is anyone you could pick in RWBY as like a sole main protagonist who this story may have been told through, it would be RWBY. Zwei is Toto just because he's her dog. I mean, that's, even though Zwei's not with them, Zwei would always fill the Toto role. Now, Weiss as the Tin Man, it's really self-explanatory, because when Weiss was first introduced into the series, even though we kind of learned it was kind of her putting up an act, she wasn't the nicest person. Like, she would put RWBY down.
She had like a cold heart.
Yeah, yeah. She would put RWBY down as much as she could. She was very, very antagonistic toward Blake when they learned she was a Faunus, and also in the White Fang. She never really had that many interactions with you. Like, really, it seems like the only one she had a lot of okay interactions with out of the three was Yang sometimes. I guess that's why Eddie thinks they would have a divorce. I still think that was funny. This is coming from a guy that actually does like freezer burn, but that was funny. And it fits. It really does. Yang would drive Weiss nuts. But
she already does.
Yeah. Now, Weiss did get better a little bit in Volume 1, like when she finally decided to accept that RWBY was the team leader.
And then accept Blake.
Yeah, but she still kept her attitude for most of Volume 2 and Volume 3. Even though you could tell, yes, she was now a team player, and we were getting little bitty snippets throughout there that she didn't exactly 100% support her throwing her name around, because we would learn.
It started out in the beginning that she was using her name the wrong way.
Yeah.
Whereas now she's actually, that's kind of what I meant, and I think in our analysis, where she's really putting a use to her name, like what the real meaning behind her name and her family is.
Yeah.
Where she was using it the wrong way
to
start with.
And also at the beginning, it's when Oobleck was asking her, Blake and Yang.
Him. He's my favorite teacher.
When he was asking her, Blake and Yang, why do you want to be a huntress, And, of course, her first reaction was, it's like you said, I'm a schnee, But we learned that that's not really how she felt. Like, really.
And he even knew it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Weiss almost wanted people to see her not for her family name, but for herself. Which, after Volume 3 and into Volume 4, where Weiss probably got the biggest character development out of anyone in that whole volume, we finally learn what Weiss's home life was like. And it's not the picture-perfect one that everybody thought it was. And through that, and then the rest of the series so far, Weiss has softened up a lot. Now, she still has her little attitude every once in a while, but
She's going to have her.
But it's not to be hateful. It's just part of her. It's like when Blake was giving her a hard time in chapter 3, I think it was. Was that the one where she got sucked through the tube? Was it chapter 3?
I think so.
And like, when Blake asked her, is there not a building in this city that your family doesn't know? And she gave a little, and that's not important right now, And
Blake was on a roll.
yeah, she
episode
was.
Too.
And then you've got like when her and Yang reunited, her actually happy to see Yang and hugging her and telling her she missed her so much. And yeah, if RWBY hadn't went with Bumblebee, I probably would have been rooting for Freezer Burn at this point. But at the end of the day, the moment was made a big deal because it was the first 2 members of Team RWBY we had seen reunite since Volume 3.
And it showed how their time away, like,
made them miss each other more.
Their team, their family, how much they missed each other. And
yeah.
I mean, I know you've touched on that subject about being apart as well. So it really did something for them, and it was definitely a big moment that they needed to see.
And a lot of people seem to call, Yang like the mother of the group, when really Weiss has kind of become that. She's kind of become the, I don't want to say grown up, but like the mother of the group, because she's having all these talks with all these characters. Like she had one with Yang, she had one in this volume with Nora. It's like she is kind of becoming the wise one in a way when it comes to relationships and how people react to each other.
It's kind of like for anyone that goes to conventions, you have the group of friends, you always have that one, the con mom, not like a literal mom, but the one in your group that is the mom type. So I mean, it kind of fits in.
Well, every group of friends has one, yeah.
But at cons, it sticks out more for some reason. So
well, there's so much stuff that can happen. There's so much stuff
that happens to begin with.
Yeah. So yeah, as the series has went on, I don't want to say Weiss was heartless, because it was more or less an act. As we learned.
She was just a bit cold-hearted, not heartless. So.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes with Red Like Roses, white is cold, But as the series has progressed, especially to now, she has gained her heart. Her heart has warmed up, and, she went from a lot of people's least favorite character from those early volumes to, like, the universal best girl of the series. Like, everybody calls her the queen. And Weiss has become a very awesome character. She, like, really, I mean, every single member of Team RWBY has had that character development, but she has had a lot. I'd say Blake has probably, Blake and Yang both have had some character development, and we'll get to that in a minute. The problem with RWBY is, with RWBY's place in the series, a lot of people call her a Mary Sue, but she's not really, because she's shown she has her flaws. And the thing is, I still think RWBY's plateau still isn't there yet.
She's grown a lot.
She has. Because
her placement, it's the where she is in the entire series. Her story's going to take a lot longer to develop. Like, her next level of growth is going to take a lot longer than the other characters. Like, we're going to see a bigger, character development for everybody else and others before we're going to see hers. Hers takes longer. And we've started seeing that.
Yeah, and I mean, she's grown as far as, in Volume 1, she preferred weapons to people. She just wanted to stay around Yang. She didn't want to go look for friends. She's never been the one who wants to have all the attention put on her, which she still had a little bit of that in Volume 6 when everybody looked at her and she was like, hey, stop it, but
points to Oscar.
Yeah. And like here, and like when she first became the team leader, she was a little too gung-ho in a way. Like it kind of fit your rookie leader in a way, but she's grown from that. She's no longer, she's making friends left and right. She's becoming a stronger leader every volume, it seems. So yes, RWBY has had character development. It's just not been as drastic as the others.
She started out with, like you said, the rookie leader, up to now where she knows that they've made mistakes, but they've had to make those mistakes regardless, or everybody would suffer. So, I mean, she's She went from when she probably wouldn't have admitted that to now she knows it, and yeah, she has to make the hard decisions to do something.
And Ruby going from the character who didn't want to make friends to one who does, kind of in a way does fit with Dorothy, because when Dorothy first came to Oz, the only thing she wanted to do was go home. But by the end of her journey, she's made all these close friends that she almost didn't want to leave. She was heartbroken to leave. So, main characters, it seems like sometimes have the least amount of character development because they're like the hero, and a lot of people write heroes with very little flaws. But I think that's one thing where RWBY shines, is that these characters do have flaws, and they
it's stuff
are.
People can relate to.
Yeah, because
like
people are
stuff.
flawed. Yeah, because people are flawed. Okay, so like I said, we don't have as much to say on RWBY because if RWBY is Dorothy, Dorothy has a bit of character development in the movie, like, becoming braver.
The books even, it's just, it's not this big, elaborate, in-depth thing, So
next we have Blake as the Cowardly Lion, and I mean, that perfectly fits early series Blake. She ran away from every single one of her problems. Now, a lot of people still give Blake grief for leaving at the end of Volume 3. I mean, I understand why she did, because she felt guilty. She felt guilty by what happened to Yang. She felt like she brought all of this, which really it would have happened either way, even if she hadn't been there. But she had no reason to know that. And leaving without saying anything, yeah, that's the only thing. But she probably felt like she couldn't face Yang at the time.
That's a real thing. I mean, when you feel like everything's your fault, it is hard to turn around and face something. So usually you just want to run. And believe me, I completely understand and know this.
And it's funny because Erin, the one person who probably knows how Blake ticks more than anyone, even said so herself. If she had one thing to change in RWBY, besides wanting to go back and revoice all of her lines, is that she would have had Blake stay. So, take that for what you will. But, just like the Cowardly Lion, who gained his courage, through Volumes 4 and 5, Blake got that. She had help, of course, from Sun, from her father, learning to forgive herself and learning to let her friends be there for her. That's what gave her the strength to stand up to and forgive Ilya. It's eventually what led to her courage to face Adam. There's not really much else you can say. She definitely was the Cowardly Lion, and she gained that courage through being away from everyone. And I remember someone long time ago posted that she gained her courage with the help from her scarecrow, which Yang did. Yang is part of the reason why that Blake decided to come back, because every time she mentioned Yang, like that one time when she said to Sun, do you think I like being alone? And her voice cracked when she said Yang's name. Plus, if you read the DC comics, you'll see a lot of connections that she cares about RWBY and Weiss, but her biggest thing she was missing when they were all apart was Yang. And
being partners is one thing, but they, even since the beginning, they've had a connection. Anyone has seen this. So, I mean, that's the one person outside of anything with shipping that she's going to go to first, that she wants, that has the most worry for.
Yeah, and so, like I said, she gained her courage. She had help from Sun, who taught her how to let her friends be there for herself. She gained it from her father, who taught her how to forgive herself and to forgive others. And so, yeah, she's come back as a stronger person. Now, in Volume 6, there was still that bit of Blake being Blake, in a way. But after defeating Adam and that demon finally being gone from her, in Volume 7 and 8, we have seen a whole new Blake. Like, she's being sarcastic. She's laughing way more. She's being adorable, and it's like if you go back and read the DC comics and we got to see a glimpse of how Blake used to be, we're starting to see that Blake is on a road to recovering how she used to be. She's finally getting over what she went through. So that's that's great. It just makes me wonder what's going to happen later in this volume, because we know that Aaron did some screaming. So it's not going to be a good one. I don't know. Like, they could be misdirecting us so much. Like, it's hard to say.
We could be taking the whole context of the screaming thing. It could be a good thing, and we won't even know it. Like,
yeah. Or it could be just fighting noises. It could be fight screaming, Scream fighting. Okay. So let's get to Yang. Yang is the Scarecrow. Now, I'm not saying Yang was dumb. She was far from it. It's just that she was reckless for very much of the early series.
She relied on anger.
Yep, and she relied on her semblance way too much.
Semblance and anger over using her head. So, which fits.
Yes, and so through Volume 4, her going through that training with Ty, he taught her, fight with your head. Don't rely on your semblance.
The semblance would help, yes, but if you solely just rely on it and fight in anger, she obviously, we've seen it, she got cocky a lot, and that's what she needed to grow from. Now,
of course, when she lost her arm to Adam, that wasn't out of cockiness, that was out of pure rage.
Yeah, and that's a little bit different, because, yeah, she relied on her anger, but something else triggered it, and it was because Blake was in danger. Blake was hurt. So she rushed in, but she also didn't fully think it over when she did it. But she also she didn't know anything about his semblance.
Yeah.
So,
which that's further confirmed by the fact that she had tears in her eyes as she dashed forward. Sometimes, like, whenever I came across this parallel, I've always wondered, is her losing her arm kind of like symbolism for when the flying monkeys tore the Scarecrow apart?
Well,
I mean, of course, she didn't get dismembered or anything, but, like, now I've got this comic in my head. Oh, they took some of Yang laying there. Oh, they took some of me and they threw it over there. Then they took the rest of it and threw it over there. Okay, that's awful. Yang's my favorite character. Why am I making a joke like that?
Because it has a slight connection.
Yeah. And as we saw through Volume 5, like, her fighting the bandits, she did not use her semblance. Like, she did not use her semblance once.
She relied on her senses instead. Yeah. Like,
and her pure fighting ability.
Yes. Her ability and her senses instead of using, like, rushing in with her anger. She just said, all right, pretty much she just let them come at her and just started taking them out because she was being smart.
Now, of course, her eyes did become red several times, but she never fully used her semblance. She actually did not use her semblance again until the fight with Adam, and she waited till the right moment to do it because she knew if she could just draw him in and catch him off guard or, like, just get to him, she would have him, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, she, like I said, she doesn't rely on it anymore, but when she did use it fighting the bandits, she was using it pretty much to...
She didn't use her semblance fighting the bandits.
No, when her eyes changed. That was activating it, but she probably only used it just to gain more, like, speed and such, not, like, use it.
I don't remember her doing that during the fight bandits. I know she used it when he tried to touch her hair in the bar, and then she
used her strength through that. Like, that's why he bounced like a ping pong ball. That's
like,
what I meant. Whenever her eyes have changed, she's not fully using it, she's just activating it to be there.
And I think the only other time she used it after that was when she was running to the vault and Mercury grabbed her arm. Her eyes turned red for a second, and then she calmed down and just detached her arm and went, oh, and when she got mad over Blake, when don't tell me to calm down. Her
semblance just kind of automatically activates, but she doesn't engage it.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at, is she's it's pretty much just an energy boost when she's fighting, but she doesn't exactly engage it, which she used to. She doesn't anymore.
And then of course she wouldn't use it again until the fight with the Aesop. She used it on Elm, but like once again, she used it at the perfect opportunity. She has not yet used it in Volume 8. Who knows if she will get the chance to use it. But, so yeah, Yang is pretty much the Scarecrow in a way that, not that she was dumb, but it's just the fact that she was kind of reckless. She relied way too much on her semblance to get fights done, to where her father taught her just the basic thing of fighting smart. Don't rely on your semblance 24/7. Build it up, yeah, and if you see a chance to use it. But what if you use it and it doesn't work? You're completely left vulnerable. So that, dang, I just lost my train of thought. So anyway, and and even if you look at Team RWBY as, Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, everyone else still falls into that. Oz can still be the wizard, this supposed which, I mean, Oz is still pretty powerful, but a man who hid by a lie, Salem is still the Wicked Witch of the West, which really, if you think about it, if you bring in the musical Wicked into this, Elphaba was kind-hearted. She wasn't mean or anything. It's just that society eventually turned her that way, and she felt like she had been wronged, and she was like, fine, if they want me to be wicked, I'll be wicked. That's kind of Salem's story in a way. She wasn't a bad person, maybe a little manipulative when it came to the gods, but she eventually,
because she decided she wasn't getting what she wanted, so she turned around to do what she could to try to manipulate them against each other.
Yep. And though, we got a quick glimpse of her in Chapter 4, Glinda is still Glinda the Good Witch. Because, I mean, that's literally what her name is, Glinda Good Witch. One really interested to see what her role is going to be later. Like, I'm guessing we probably won't see her much until, everyone's guessing that we're going to return to Vale and, try and take Beacon back. Like, that'll be the final battle or something. So maybe we'll see her then. Hopefully we'll see her before then. I think we're both, like everyone else, we're really expecting Raven and Ty to show up at some point. And I do think Gira and them are going to be on the way as well because of that call that Ilya was getting.
Well, here's the other thing also. We're going to have to go back to Beacon at some point.
Well, yeah.
The relic. That's apparently, I think, is the most, from what's been said, the most hidden relic.
A lot of people,
the Beacon one.
A lot of people think the relic's Glinda. That'd be awkward.
We know what it looks like, though.
Yeah.
Because we've seen all three of them.
Yeah, it's the crown, right?
I think that's the Beacon relic.
Yeah, because the Vacua one is a sword.
So yeah,
it's a sword, a crown, a staff, and a lamp. I'm really interested to see if there's a being inside the staff as well, like Jinn.
I'm really interested also, since we're going to be going back and rewatching everything from Volume 1 on, because you notice things that you didn't notice before. I wonder if there's any hints to this.
I don't know.
No one's really ever said anything, and I know I've not looked either, but actually in depth going back and watching again, I'll probably be more on the lookout for that, because there has to be hints somewhere of something, not necessarily where it's at, but just a nod to it, like something when we wouldn't have known about the relics. Oh, there's this. Okay, that looks familiar, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, who knows? There might be something in Chibi as well, because Chibi seems to have foreshadowed a lot of things
and done things that they really couldn't do at the time.
Yeah. So we'll see. So yeah, once Volume 8's over with, we're gonna go back and watch all the trailers, the shorts, Volume 1 through Volume 7, Chapter 1. We're calling them retrospective reactions, and we're going to be doing the same thing with Chibi. We're actually going to be posting as soon as we can. Don't know if we'll highly doubt get all of it in before Volume 8 comes back, but we'll try. That's really all I've got. There's not much else to really go on as of right now. Do you got anything? All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, click that like button, leave us a comment. Think about supporting us on Patreon. It's only $1 to get access to most of the stuff we got.
Most things, yeah.
Yep. Please think about subscribing. We're almost at 350 subscribers. Also, I have got a capture card on the way, so I'll finally be able to do console games on the channel. Hopefully everything goes right, and I figure what I'm doing. Do you still got stuff planned?
Yeah, the mail. Just waiting on the mail.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.